Hello, everyone. This is Stacy. Welcome to The Landing. Today's conversation comes from the edge of the water, from a place where the tide sets the rhythm of life and the shoreline is not just scenery, it is home. She's a Harkers Island native, raised on salt air and strong roots. The Landing is not just a place she passes by, it's part of who she is. It is in her memories, in her family's footsteps, in the stories handed down through generations. It's in her bloodline, her work ethic, and deep down in her bones. She's the kind of person who doesn't slow down, always moving, always creating, always giving. The kind of steady, hard-working spirit that keeps a community going, often without fanfare, but always felt. From sunup to sundown, she's pouring herself into the things she loves and into the lives of those around her. And whether you realize it or not, chances are something she's touched has made its way into your world too. So settle in and listen closely, because this is more than a story about a place. It's a story about belonging. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Landing. We have a beautiful young lady here with us today, and I've been chasing her for a while. She is busy, but we are so glad that she could carve out a few minutes for us today. So if you will, please tell us your name, who is your crowd, and where are you from?
Sara Yeomans Willis. I'm from Harkers Island. I live where I was raised. And my mama was Melissa Salter Yeomans, and my daddy was Ellis Yeomans.
And if you are from this area, you know who she is, and you know her crowd very well. She comes from good stock, as Grandma would say. Sara, thank you for pausing your busy day and for sitting down with us and sharing a little bit of light about what growing up was like for you on Harkers Island. So if you will, if you want to just jump right in and tell us that, like what part of the island even did you grow up on?
I grew up on the western end of the island where Ellis Yeomans Seafood was. It was started out as a scallop house out on the end of the dock, and in the 70s, he built a bigger scallop house, and I think about 42 women could shuck scallops. In the summertime, we would get sea scallops from up north, and we would have every spot in the scallop house filled with women shucking scallops. The women on Harkers Island then loved to make money, and they loved to open scallops. So it was a thriving business back then. If you would drive along the road, you could tell when they had scallops because you could smell the guts.
Yes.
So in the wintertime, in December, usually that's when bay scallops were plentiful, and that's when the season opened. Most of the time it was around the 1st of December, I think. And individual boats, Daddy's brothers would scallop, and then different people around the island would scallop and bring their scallops into the scallop house. And they would have a set space up on the bench where they would put their scallops. And sometimes their family members, their wives or daughters or sisters would come and shuck their scallops. And if they didn't have people to shuck their scallops, then Mama would get people to shuck their scallops after they finished, most of the time after they finished their family scallops. So that was also a thriving business, and it came right before Christmas. So people were like trying to make money for Christmas. So they were pretty active. I'm pretty sure that maybe scalloping was open 2 days a week, maybe Monday and Wednesday. So most of the time it would take us through Friday, and then we would clean up and start again the next week.
Wow. See, when I was growing up, I took so much for granted. and like never like stop to watch or learn or, and now I wish I could go back, do a redo. When you were talking about catching scallops and opening them yourselves or your family members, would they get more money if they open them themselves? Was that the advantage, or?
They would get the rate that they paid per gallon to shuck the scallops. If you had family members, say if your wife shucked your scallops, and you would get the whole amount for the gallon, and if you hired somebody to open your scallops, you would have to pay them by the gallon. I kind of remember maybe $5 a gallon. I'm sure that wasn't in the 70s, but I do remember getting 5, and then I think it went up to 7 and 8. And sometimes it depended on the size of the scallops. If they were smaller, then you would get more money because, of course, it took longer to get that gallon.
Oh, for sure. And now, how much is a gallon of scallops?
I buy the sea scallops sometimes when I'm cooking for people, and they're over $100 a gallon. I would say probably around $140 a gallon.
Wow. Whew, that's amazing. But man, aren't they good. They're so good.
Yep.
So you helped there, and from a young age. Can you tell us any stories? Do you remember any people or names?
Oh, I remember lots of people. I still think about the women that open scallops down there often. I started opening scallops as a little girl, probably 4 or 5 years old, and I'd sit on the bench on a scallop can and shuck scallops.
Wow.
That was in the old scallop house on the end of the dock, the little scallop house, I call it. And then when Daddy built the big scallop house, when we'd have sea scallops, I would wash the scallops when I wasn't opening. But if the house was full, I didn't really get a chance to open scallops because I was so busy washing. It took, you go and, full time to get the scallops washed and canned. I remember, I can look right now in my mind and I can see the women that stood, where they stood and how they opened scallops. I can go down the island and I look at the houses where these women used to live, and I still think about the fond memories that I have of them. Maddie Brooks, Alma Guthrie, I'm pretty sure she's still living. Almeda Guthrie, Faye Mullane, Nanette, Lois Ann, Dolores, they all opened scallops. Shirley Gillican, yep. Daphne, Verena Carroll. Most of these people are passed away now. It's very few of them that still living. Jenny Dawn, I actually went to see her in the nursing home a while back, and we talked about the fun times that we had at the scallop house.
And I mean, like, it's an emotional thing, like, for you to say these women's names, but also the fact that you can see they had their spot, they brought their knives, they had their routine. I do remember, like, hearing laughter and hearing, like, the women, you knew when it was happening because there was just a different atmosphere around when the women were around.
Oh, they would sing. They would start singing church hymns, and they would really get into it. And there were some good singers down there. Yeah, it was a happy place, and everybody that worked down there seemed to be happy and loved what they did.
Yeah, and it's hard work. I mean, like, standing all day doing that, it's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard work.
But they did it. Oh my goodness. What else do you remember? I mean, I know a lot of your core memories are around that scallop house, but, like, what else can you tell us about growing up?
I remember in the summertime when we were out of school, going in the Sound, swimming, and staying in the Sound all day. We would come in just long enough to get a bite to eat, and then Mama would say, you got to wait 30 minutes before you go back swimming because you'll get cramps.
Yes, that 30-minute rule.
And if we got thirsty, we ran up to the house, got a drink of water out of the water hose, and went right back swimming. It was a lot of kids down at the landing swimming then. Now you hardly ever see anybody swimming. You see a lot of boats go by heading to the Cape or Shackelford, but you hardly see anybody in the water swimming.
And that's I haven't really stopped to think about that. But no, because the local youngins aren't at the shore.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Nope.
my goodness. Someone not long ago was talking about like Christmas. They used to, one of their favorite things was to watch kids ride their bikes up and down the road.
Yep.
Well, you don't see
That's
that
it.
anymore. But no, there's no kids at the
Mm-mm.
landing, which
Well, I guess people are so afraid to let their kids roam. It's so much meanness in the world now. And I remember one year when I guess I was probably 11 or 12, and I got a Honda 70, and so did my cousin Little Dan, my cousin Eugenia, and my cousin Nisa Lou. We all got red Hondas, and Little Dan got a gold Honda. And boy, we had some fun on them things.
I bet you did. I bet you did. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Now you mentioned that you now live where you grew up.
Yep.
Do your grandkids, do they go to the shore?
My grandkids, two of my grandkids live in Wilmington, and they don't get down here too much, but I go get them as often as I can. And when they come, they love to go to the shore.
Mm-hmm.
They love to fish off the dock. And the last time that Luca was here a few days ago, that's my grandson, we set crab pots, and I've been actually catching some stone crabs.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. I bet he thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. So when you were going through school, you went here on the island. So tell us a little bit about that.
I think we mostly would ride with May or Jan, and they would take us to school. We would ride the bus home most days. But as soon as we would get home, if it was warm enough, that the water was warm, we'd put our bathing suits on and head to the shore.
Shoes would come off.
Yep.
Bathing suits
Yep.
on. Mm-hmm.
And we would swim, or we would play on the shore. We made like houses in the woods with fish boxes, and we had our kitchens and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I was real young, I got an easy bake oven, and I guess that's where I started and got the love of baking, because I would bake cakes in that easy bake oven.
And boy, can you bake now. So that served you well. I had an easy bake oven, Sarah, and maybe I didn't practice enough.
Maybe.
Dang, I missed an opportunity. Oh, I love that little easy bake oven. Them little brownies, little brownie mix. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So now where did you go to high school?
I went to East Carteret.
East Carteret. Okay. And some of the names I know your cousins. Who were some of the folks that were in your class?
Carrie Ann, her and I used to be really good friends. Sherrod, Marla, all them girls were the same age as me, and Melanie. I actually went to Carteret Tech after high school, and I rode to school with Regina, Eugenia, Val Salter, and I remember Val having a Volkswagen, and we'd have to leave real early because that Volkswagen at the time did not go very fast. So I remember us all piling in that Volkswagen and heading to Moorhead.
Now, with the names that you just said, I could imagine some laughing going
Yes.
on.
Yes.
That was a good ride. Some good folks you just named. Now, what did you study at Carteret Tech?
I actually studied, I got a secretarial degree, which didn't really serve me except for in my business. When I started my own business, I actually, was pretty good at doing my contracts and quotes and stuff like that. I still had to ask for help from my daughters and from other people because we didn't have computer. We had typing when I went to school. Mm-hmm. So the computer was kind of a new thing for me, but I did pretty well.
Yeah. Now, what kind of business did you have?
I had a catering business, and also I had a wedding shop in Moorhead. I sold my catering business about 4 years ago when my husband got sick with cancer, to go to the doctor with him and take care of him. And the girl that bought my business worked with me for a few years, and she's actually doing very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Now, folks, don't let her fool you into thinking she's retired. I jokingly said that this morning. I was like, you are anything but retired. You still are busy, busy.
I'm very busy. I was just doing a little baking, and I was helping Rachel that bought my business some. But then I would help out at the museum with events they had down there by cooking meals and helping out with the Taste of Corsaine. And then it'd be a year ago this coming Mother's Day, that my daughter added on a commercial type kitchen over at Miss Jana's Shrimp, and I do the baking over there. We do cakes and pies and crab dip and crab cakes, and that's done very well, and that really keeps me busy. But in the off season, not so busy, and I've always been busy. So I took on a job at Crow Hill Farms as the cook down there for the duck hunters, and so I work down there some on weekends. So between that, the museum, and Miss Jana's kitchen, I'm pretty busy.
Yes, but you wouldn't have it any other
No,
way.
I can't sit still. I always need something to do.
You are not one to sit on your in a rocking chair cross stitching or crocheting.
No.
Well, let's see. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you would like to mention?
Well, I want to go back to the scallop house a little bit.
Please do.
When scallops kind of fizzled out, I'm going to say, my daddy and my brother built a fish market onto the scallop house. And daddy would work down there during the week. Sundays, of course, was a no work day for him. They went to church and didn't eat seafood that day for some reason. I don't know why, but they would always be beef or chicken. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That
yeah,
was
no
their break.
seafood on Sundays because they'd have it every day of the week. And so I could see him now walking down to the scallop house, and he loved to talk to people, and he was just a wonderful person, a wonderful daddy, and I really do miss him. I think about him and Mama a lot, and I can go back and just see him in that market, selling seafood, cleaning seafood, opening clams, cleaning fish and peeling shrimp. And that's some good memories that I have.
Oh, for sure. For sure. The seafood that he sold, where did that come from? Was that local?
Different fishermen would bring it into the, that was something else that he did besides the scallops, is that he would pack out fish and shrimp the other fishermen caught and bought in there. And then he worked with the Smiths in Atlantic, and he would have a truck, and he would load the stuff on the truck and take it to Atlantic to be shipped wherever. And that's kind of what he did to start off with.
Yeah. Hearing you talk about your dad and your parents, your family, work, right? I mean, that's all you've known.
But it's not really work when you enjoy doing what you're doing. It's a joy to do it. I love to cook and I love to bake. So when I say I have to go to work, I'm really it's not in my mind that I'm going to work. I'm going to cook.
Yes.
And to me, that's really not work.
Yeah. And that does make a big difference.
It does.
And that's like you were saying about the women opening the scallops. I mean, this is something that they truly love to do.
Yeah. When I worked at the post office for 30 years, and it wasn't something that I enjoyed, but I did it to get my kids through school and college. And as soon as I got a chance, don't get me wrong, it was a wonderful place to work with wonderful pay and wonderful benefits, but it wasn't something that I enjoyed doing.
That was a job.
That was a job. Yes.
Yeah. And so then you retired and went to work.
Yeah, I retired and went to work.
Went to work.
Well, I actually went to work before I retired.
There you go. You worked, retired, and now enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Well, I know that when people hear Sara, they know it's good and they trust you and they just love you. But if we're doing an event down here and like the question will come up, who's cooking, they want to hear your name because there's just something about it. You put that extra something in it.
There's not a lot of down east cooks anymore. Now, I'm sure there's some excellent cooks, but when you say executive chef, I ask myself, what really does that mean? You know, you go to school, but you can't get the same benefit that we got from watching our mamas standing to the stove.
Yeah. And did you stand beside your mom?
I did.
And
I did. I
Mom?
wish I'd have done it more, but I did. I watched everything she did.
Yeah. And you do it the same way?
I try to do it the same way, yeah.
Uh-huh. And that's the difference,
It
though.
is.
It really is.
Yeah. If I'm cooking for 2 people, or if I'm cooking for 100 or 150, I use the same method. I just make more of it.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Well, it's good. And so keep doing what you're doing. But I'm really being serious. I appreciate you coming and sharing your story. And we love your family. You've been a huge part of Harkers Island and down east, and will continue to be. But your roots run deep, and your love of home is evident.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you again for joining us to The Landing. This podcast is brought to you by the Core Sound Waterfowl Museum and Heritage Center. Tune in next week as we continue learning, sharing, and remembering together. If you'd like to hear more, check out our previous episodes where you get your podcasts. If you or someone you know is interested in being on The Landing, please reach out through the link in the description. Until then, stay safe and be kind.